Welcome back to Day 2 of the 2021 Texas Workforce Commission Virtual Forum. Enjoy your session, and remember, complete the survey for each session that you attend. These surveys will be sent to you via email at the end of each session.
Hello and welcome to the 2021 TWC Virtual Workforce Forum. You are in the breakout session entitled New Career Education Resources from LMCI. My name is Carolyn Zubaldia, and I, along with Michelle Perez, will serve as your moderators. Together, we will be in the background monitoring Q&A and handling any issues that may arise. We encourage you to submit written questions at any time during the presentation using the Q&A panel located at the bottom right of your device screen. Please type your questions into the text field and hit send. Also click the drop down and set it to all panelists. We will be holding the Q&A segment at the conclusion of today's presentation. If you are really enjoying the session, feel free to give feedback using the reaction feature indicated by the tiny megaphone that is located in the participants section. The presenters may review your comments after the session. If we do not have enough time for your questions, the presenters' contact information will be displayed at the end of this session. Please note, you are not alone in this session. You are part of a larger audience today. All attendees will be in listen mode only for the duration of today's session. And as a reminder, the session is being recorded. If you experience technical difficulty at any time during the WebEx event, please submit your technical issues in the Q&A panel and I will assist you. In addition, there is a survey that will pop up immediately after you exit this session, and we do ask that you complete that. Your feedback is valuable to us. With that, we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's presentation. I would now like to introduce your first speaker for today. You now have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lori Knight. I manage our education outreach team for the Texas Workforce Commission. I'm joined today by my colleagues, Cristina, Jaime, and Abby Schmidt, and we're so delighted that you joined us today. So I hope you're excited, as excited to learn about our new resources as I am to share them with you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Cristina, would you like to share our objectives?
In this session, you will be meeting a few objectives. Specifically, you'll get a chance to meet the folks in the TWC Education Outreach team. We have some new faces to share with you, and some of my colleagues are here to co-present with me. You'll get a sneak peek at several of the projects we're currently working on and see how close we are to distributing some of them. You'll hear about what's on the horizon for our team as far as projects and new content coming your way. You'll also learn how to access these tools and be notified when future resources are ready to launch. And finally, you'll learn how to contact our team if you have questions, want to request our services, or have feedback or requests for the team.
So first, we're going to start by introducing the education outreach team and all of our supplemental staff. And so there's me, Lori Knight. I manage the education outreach team. I've been with TWC and LMCI for almost 7 years now. I started as an education outreach specialist, and I now manage the team. And prior to that, I was working in education.
I'm Cristina. I'm a former educator. I joined in 2019, this team. I'm now the editor and fledgling graphic designer for us.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abby Schmidt. I'm the graphic designer for the Education Outreach team. I joined the team in 2020, and I've been working closely with Cristina and Lori on many of the publications that we will talk to you about in today's presentation.
And then we have our 3 specialists who are Major Jones, Jonathan Butler, and Ronnie Washington, and they do the education outreach and provide those services for us across the state. So we have been busy in this last year, a little bit different than what we are usually used to as far as education outreach. Once everything happened with COVID, it was actually a little bit of a blessing for our team, because for the first time in 7 years, our team was actually able to sit and brainstorm. We did a lot less traveling, obviously, and so we were able to kind of take some of the feedback and the requests and recommendations that we were getting from folks out in the field and turn it into projects for our team, which we're really excited about. So let's see what we've been up to.
Right. So as Lori said, since 2014, the various members of the LMCI team have been communicating with our education partners, students, teachers, and counselors about what they need from our resources and to pinpoint gaps in career education content. So when we realized we could spend our time in remote work status focusing on content building and resource updating, COVID turned into a blessing in disguise, and we're finally able to use the feedback from the field we've been collecting for the benefit of the students we serve. Luckily, this realization occurred in the first few days of social distance remote work, and we were able to quickly start putting together a project list and prioritize those plans. So we also started tackling them right away by brainstorming concepts and assigning tasks to team members.
So when the time came for us to start building some of that content that Cristina was talking about, we were sure to do a couple of things. We were sure to compile research, to reach out to subject matter experts, and also to reach out to our partners to ensure that the content we put together was both comprehensive and credible.
And as an added bonus, for the first time, our team was able to hire someone who also had a graphic design skill set, and that's Abby. And so she's been able to work on the team on several different projects. She's got a wonderful eye for design. And Cristina has been helping out doing a lot of graphic support and graphic design support as well.
Finally, another project that took priority for us was to work on translating much of our career education publication content. So we've been building a collection of translated content, and as soon as it can be vetted and placed into the design of the document, we will post the translated versions to our website, then add those products to our order form.
So one of the first projects we wanted to complete was actually updating some of our older resources. More specifically, we wanted to bring our Career Success and Readiness tabloid into the 21st century. So that document became our starting point. We're currently in the very end stages of working on this publication before it goes out for distribution. It is our most comprehensive college, career, and military readiness workbook that we've ever made. So we're very excited to share it with you guys today. Before actually showcasing the new Career Success product, I wanted to discuss our legacy document that we were working with. We had some really big shoes to fill. We knew that going into this project, the task would be challenging, but ultimately we knew that it would also be very beneficial for our students. So it was going to be worth the effort. Our legacy career readiness publication was also called Career Success. We decided to keep that name for those who are already familiar with the document since it's been around for so many years. Our original version, as you can see over on the left, was a newspaper print tabloid-sized document that we've been circulating since 1992. This product was created in partnership with both the TEA and the governor's office, and it was a wildly popular career readiness resource for teachers and students across the state of Texas for many years.
Excuse me. In fact, over the lifespan of this particular product, we had sold over 1.5 million copies to schools and districts statewide. We also distributed them through our local workforce solutions offices to students and job seekers.
And in 2016, we sold our very last copy. And so the resource was taken out of circulation at that point. We decided we wanted to completely revamp and update it before redistributing it. So, oops.
Updates were needed, to say the least, with feedback from others. So there were some ideas the team already had about how to update the publication, but we also incorporated feedback we'd received from teachers, counselors, and students when discussing how to move forward with this project.
And so for us, the immediate need was kind of the low-hanging fruit for us was update all of the data, all labor market data that was included in the resource, as well as any data such as what we got from Department of Labor or what we were collecting from the Higher Education Coordinating Board. So data in general needed updating, and then we knew we also needed to update some of the content held within the document.
So once those tasks that Lori mentioned were more immediate were complete, we started working on the more detailed design considerations. Specifically, we wanted to make sure that the graphics we used were more timeless than in our previous iterations and that they didn't date the document in any way. We also wanted to ensure that each of the graphics we used were purposefully selected to be inclusive of all the populations represented within our state. Finally, whenever possible, we made an effort to reduce the amount of text included on every single page. So we used graphics and white space in order to break up that information and make it a little more easily digestible.
And on this slide, you can see where we use less text, and we had a lot more colorful, engaging content. So changes in graphics were very, very important for us, including infographics. We wanted to make sure they're interesting, visually engaging. Here we have some prime examples showcasing the post-secondary education and career options of apprenticeship in yellow, an explanation of career clusters in an array of attractive colors, a ranking legend below, and on the right-hand selection on several example careers for students to explore.
We also wanted to include in our new editions information or content that we felt was relevant to the current generation of students. And so that meant we wanted to find a way to engage with them digitally because they are very tech savvy. But we also wanted to include an explanation as to the physiology behind the decision-making process and how it helps to understand the way in which we think so that it can students can leverage that knowledge to help them make better informed decisions. We also included information about just growth mindset and being very committed to a process, essentially. And we wanted to further kind of explain or dive a little bit deeper into all the post-secondary options available to students currently beyond high school.
Included. So in the new Career Success Workbook, we included information on the foundation, high school graduation plan, and endorsement options, the 14 new TEA career clusters, and more activities for students to complete to explore careers and use labor market information. And of course, we stuck with the tried and true content that made the original Career Success publication so great. Content covering such topics as financial literacy and planning beyond high school, career readiness tips and best practices, soft skill identification and development, and college and career planning strategies.
And as part of the process, we wanted to make sure that our partners got to see the content and give us their seal of approval. So we shared this with the TEA. We've been working with our VR accessibility team to ensure that all the resources are going to be accessible when they are disseminated and released. And we're also working with some folks out in the Cameron County Workforce Board area to help us to translate the content as well.
So let's take a look at some of the highlights of this exciting new publication.
Awesome.
Career Success 2021. All right. We're nearly ready for release. Here's a look at the cover of the workbook, along with its table of contents. It's important to note here that the table of contents is broken into 6 separate steps. So these steps are essentially the 6 phases of the standard decision-making process. And we'll be referring to these steps throughout the document and utilize its structure to break down the workbook into smaller chunks. So this would work well for those who prefer to work in smaller sections. We'll discuss this aspect of the resource later on.
Also included in the document is a section dedicated to information on the 14 career clusters now used by the TEA, the Texas Education Agency. These career clusters are similar to the 16 national clusters used by the U.S. Department of Education. but the TEA has just simply combined the business, marketing, and finance clusters, and as well as the law and government / public service clusters together. And they also added a new energy cluster. So on the screen here, you can see a sample of some of our cluster pages. You might notice that they include information about the cluster, some sample careers found in that cluster, as well as some of the academic pathways available in both high school and beyond that can get you to some of those careers.
All right, a peek at a few more pages. So here's an additional peek at some of the pages in the workbook that demonstrate one of the activities we have them do, as well as the kinds of work development skills we plan to share with our readers. So on the left, you'll see an example of the post-secondary plans that students will consider. And on the right hand, some tidbits and helpful hints about how to proceed.
So another exciting piece about, I guess, the new concept of how we were going to share this with folks was that we wanted to give y'all options in how you choose to engage with the document. So let's take a look at those. There are 3 ways that we can do this. Cristina, did you want to elaborate on that?
Yes.
Awesome.
Like all of our other career education publications, you can always have the option to download and print the resources you want from our website. You can download and read the PDF of this publication on any digital device. And then, of course, you have the option to order a printed version from us as well.
So if you choose to download and print your own document, there's a couple considerations we want you to keep in mind. And one is that the complete workbook is pretty large. So it's over 100 pages at this point. It is very colorful. Obviously, you have the option to print in grayscale, but if you do print in color, there's lots of color included. But you can break it down into 3 separate sections if you'd like. Another thing to consider for teachers who may be using this with students and having them download and print on their own, or for schools who may be interested in printing multiple copies for their students, we don't copyright our materials, so you can feel free to print to your heart's content.
If rather than printing, you prefer to read and interact with the document in a digital platform, we do provide that option as well. You can download the document to any electronic device that has a PDF reader installed. You can also save the career success document on any device and come back to it as needed to kind of read it and review it at your own pace. And lastly, if you would like to complete the exercises included in the workbook or store the information as you're researching occupations, schools, training options that is included within, you can use our career portfolio. The portfolio is a companion document to career success that allows you to complete, save, and store those activities in a digital format as well.
Now, if you want to purchase a copy from us, a couple things to consider. It will be unbound because of its size, but it will be 3-hole punched and shrink wrapped. And we will be sending recommendations on the best way to kind of use and set up the document once you remove it from the shrink wrap as well. Now, we're not quite sure yet what the cost is going to be for each individual workbook once it's printed, because this is something we have to vet out with our printers and get them to give us an estimate of what that cost will be before we can share that with our customers. So just keep that in mind. But it will be, obviously, it will be posted once we determine what the cost will be.
So our recommendations, we have a few. Once users are able to order a printed copy, we'd suggest the following. So once the shrink wrap is removed from the document, immediately install the pages into any standard 3-ring binder or a folder with brads, ensuring the binder or folder has pockets. So we also recommend users insert dividers with pockets at the start of sections 1 through 5. This will allow students to keep safe any loose paper they use to complete the activities or the research they will compile as they work through the sections. Users will also have the option to use sheet protectors for the individual pages in the workbook. And this might actually be really useful for teachers specifically interested in keeping a master copy that they can duplicate as often as they'd like. So finally, in this format, users have the option to tackle the document at their own pace.
Now, we do know that with a document of this size, the idea of working with something this large can be overwhelming at first glance, and we totally get that. So if you prefer to use the workbook in smaller sections, we've got you covered. The fact that the printed copy comes unbound actually allows you to choose how much you would like to put into your binder or folder that you're using whenever you get started. If you choose to only work with part of the workbook, just be sure that you keep the rest of it in its shrink wrap and store it in a safe and dry place for whenever you're ready to move on to that next section. If you prefer to use it in the digital format that we previously mentioned as well, it's already broken down for you.
In fact, that those 6 different steps within the decision-making process, we essentially broke those down 2 steps at a time and created 3 separate workbooks that can be used in a digital format. So if a student wants to download only one of these workbooks to print out at a time, they have that option as well.
All right, workbook 1, assessments and goals. So book 1 covers the engaging and understanding phases, which means it focuses on assessments, learning more about yourself as a student and your interests, and helps that student define the goals they want to set for their future life.
Workbook 2 is more focused on exploring careers and career pathways. Workbook 2 covers the explore and evaluate phases, which guides students through learning about all the options available to them, both in and beyond high school, and how those career and education pathways can start now where they're at currently, and then can lead them in the future as well.
Workbook 3, career readiness and plans. And so readers will learn about career readiness skills such as resume writing, interview prep, and soft skills, and even applying everything they've learned to their own education and career goals and plans.
And as an added bonus, I want to point out that the workbook does have a recommended companion piece. It is a career portfolio. It's been converted into a digital version as well as print ready. And it allows any user to collect all of their research, brainstorming, complete activities, and collect responses all in one place. So let's take a look at this resource as well.
So this portfolio is being made available to our customers in the same 3 formats as the workbook, which means students can download and print it on their own, download and use it as an interactive digital format, or purchase a printed version from the LMCI department. Unlike the workbook, the career portfolio is only available in one size so that it encourages our readers to utilize all the sections of the workbook available. But just as with the workbook, we are not yet sure how much the printed version of the portfolio will be when it's ready for print, but know that this information will be made available in announcement emails we send out to publicize its launch. All right, so let's take a deeper dive of what's available.
So as we mentioned before, this portfolio was, in essence, it was created to be the companion piece for the Career Success Workbook, and all the activities inside the workbook are collected within the portfolio. The portfolio also allows a space for users to note their responses to those activities, and we've even added extra activities for students to do more work around their interests, their options, and their future planning. The document is also a space where users can collect in one place the information they discover while they're researching careers, all of their post-secondary options beyond high school, their interests and values, and all the other useful information about career development topics that's sure to come up while they're using the Career Success Workbook.
And there is a digital version of it as well. This could be used on any digital device. And once it's downloaded, it's fully interactive, which means users can collect their responses. They can actually complete activities. They can input their research, and they can save it. They can email it to themselves. They can come back to it and change it over and over and over again in the future. All righty.
If you
So-
like what you see, you may be asking yourself, how do I get these resources? Or how can I share these with my students? Well, we're glad you asked. Remember, they're not yet ready for distribution, but we're nearly there, so know they are coming soon.
We encourage you to take a look at or save this URL that's on the top of the screen here. And I'm going to share with you in a minute, towards the end, a link to what we call Padlet. It is an online, essentially a place where you can get all of the things that we're talking about today. So you'll have access to the links and you'll have access to our slide deck as well. So don't feel like you have to write it down, but just in case, you can visit this URL at any time to see which publications we have that are currently in distribution. Keep in mind, we are talking about two separate documents here. We're talking about the Career Success Workbook and its accompanying portfolio.
Next, we'll take a look at a few additional projects.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cristina, I just want to mention real quick that there is an order form available online, also this URL, and it can also be completed digitally, and folks can order documents from us. It's pretty self-explanatory. There is a 5 to 7 day turnaround. And keep in mind that if you are going to order from us, please submit your official purchase order along with your requests. All right, now we're ready.
I jumped the gun on y'all.
It's
Just to
okay.
keep things excited. Make sure you're paying attention. So let's see. When's it ready for distribution? So finally, there's just one more thing that we have plans to share the content and design files with some of our partners so they can use it to modify for their own audiences, just to let y'all know.
Essentially, we've already been in discussions with our AEL division. We also have been in discussions with our regional outreach teams, but it's going to be available to anyone else as well. So once we are ready to put this guy into distribution, we're going to share all of our files, PDF files, InDesign files, everything with our AEL teams and our regional outreach teams. So if they would like to include their own logos, if AEL is going to update the content so that it's more adult friendly, so they'll be using photographs as opposed to graphics, for example. The content is here for anyone else who may be interested in retrofitting the content for their own audience. So feel free to reach out for us if that is something that you're interested in exploring with us.
So next we'll take a look at a few additional projects that we've got underway. And we anticipate they'll be ready for distribution by the summer or fall. By summer or fall. Again, make sure that you're added to the TWC mailing list to ensure you'll receive all product announcements as they come out. So you'll go to www.twc.texas.gov to sign up.
Back in 2016, we published 5 endorsement bulletins to help students figure out how to connect their foundation high school graduation plan and their endorsement options to potential career pathways and destinations. So we updated the data and content in those bulletins recently. We changed the design so that they're aligned to the design of our Career Success Workbook because we wanted to ensure that our students' resources are consistent. And we're currently working to ensure that they are also fully accessible for the blind and visually impaired. Those people who might use screen readers will be able to fully access this document as well. We are hoping to get these out into distribution by, fingers crossed, start of summer.
All right, and then we are updating essentially our financial aid document. Currently, it's called financial aid. This is what it looks like on the left-hand side, and it explores financial aid options available specifically for the traditional collegiate pathway. We decided for the new document, we want to focus on financial planning for beyond high school as opposed to just financial aid. So we discussed all the options available to students beyond high school and then all of the assistance that is available based on each of the different options. So we talk about apprenticeship, we talk about foster youth resources for post-secondary education and training. We talk about the workforce solution offices and workforce training programs. So again, we discuss all the options. We allow links and we provide all kinds of information to help folks figure out how to plan beyond high school. Again, we include the legacy content, which is again, about the traditional collegiate pathway, and we provide a lot of links and resources.
At the same time that we're building these upgraded or new products, we are also working on translating current content into Spanish and getting those designed to match the English versions of our products. So the Cameron County Workforce Board is actually working with us to vet the content that we currently have translated. But this is an ongoing project, and we'll update the products on our publications page, as well as our order form as the Spanish versions are made available.
And then finally, we are putting together a video library. So we want to include videos not just on our resources, but also on all of the career education or career readiness content that myself and the specialists provide when we are out on the road. So make sure you save this URL, come back and check our video library. We are working right now on the first 5 videos for the library, so we're hoping that they'll be posted sometime this summer. And this is going to be an ongoing project for us, so we know that we're just going to continually build onto the content that is collected in this video library. So we encourage you guys to come and check back often. All right.
So in addition, we also have a whole host of resources that we already have written the content for, and we've added them to our long-term project timeline. Since we can't estimate how long it might take us to reach the distribution phase for these resources, that we have content, but they're still, you know, in the long-term projected timeline. I just want to remind you again to go ahead and sign up for our notifications through our website, so you'll always get our announcement emails as these new products are launched in the future.
We're always updating. So our team is always working on updating and building our product lineup. The queue of projects we have underway is huge, but there's always room for more. We're working with our partners to determine how to best fill the gaps in college, career, and military readiness resources. And we'd love to hear from our customers if you have any recommendations or requests. In the future, we're hoping to expand what we have as interactive digital resources. So we're doing what we can to focus on that format. The resources we currently have on deck are tailored specifically for the audiences we work with, and those are students, faculty and staff, and even resources for the classroom. That means students from pre-K through post-secondary completion. Our information is useful for absolutely everyone.
Yep, sure is. And we know that in order to pull off these projects, it takes a lot of partnership. And we are partnering with the TEA, the Higher Education Coordinating Board, educators and counselors out in the field. We're getting a lot of help from our regional education outreach teams and the translation team down at Cameron County. And just understand, as we complete projects, as we get closer to the distribution phase, we will be making announcements when those things are ready through our TWC Gov delivery list. So just make sure you're on that list so that you can get those announcements. And we're always accepting feedback if anybody has any special requests. Every opinion matters. So all levels of feedback, from students to administrators, parents, and everyone in between. If you have feedback, if you have a request, we're open to communicate with you. So please reach out to us at our contact information, which is here. So career information at twc.texas.gov is a shared email address. Everyone on our team monitors this email address. So know that once you send any kind of email to us, you will get a response rather quickly. You can visit the lmci.state.tx.us website. That's for the LMCI department. It includes information or access to all of our services, publications, all of our online tools as well. You can call our 1-800 number, 1-800-822-7526. If you're a student, you can ask for information on up to 3 careers or 3 institutions of higher learning, and we will get information to you. Or if you are a faculty staff member of any academic institution across the state, you can ask for something called a counselor packet. And our counselor packet will include a free copy of many of our career education materials, along with all kinds of marketing information about our resources as well as our services. You can call the number. It's available 24/7. And you can email us again. And hopefully get a response from our team rather quickly. So with that, I'm going to kind of wrap up the presentation portion and just want to say thank you so much for joining us. You guys had a lot of options of sessions to attend this morning. I'm honored that you stayed with us. And so I'm going to open it up if there are any questions in our Q&A box here. So, I don't know, can you girls see the Q&A box? I'm having difficulty getting it to open.
The first question is, will this PPT be available?
Absolutely. In fact, so I'm copying and I'm pasting inside the chat box real quick to everybody, a link to something called a Padlet. And this Padlet, let's see, all attendees. This Padlet will give you access to our slide deck, as well as our contact information, our online resources, and the publication page that you can go to check at any time to see what we've got posted. Can somebody verify for me that that went through?
I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a different question, but
Okay. Oh, I put it in the chat. So
Did you select to all attendees so that it would go out? Okay. Not seeing that.
I'm seeing someone say yes, it went through to the audience.
Okay, good deal.
maybe
Great.
we're not seeing it because we're presenters.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Says,
All right.
can this publication be found on your website? If so, where?
So it's not on our website yet because it hasn't been cleared for distribution. We were working very closely with our accessibility team and discovered that we had some changes that we needed to make in order to make sure that it was fully accessible to all of our customers. So we are in the process of changing some of the design elements to ensure that it is fully accessible. And once that's complete, then we will post it online. Again, we'll be sending out announcements, just, hey, we're going to be so proud, like we'll be singing it from the rooftops. Everybody will know that this publication is ready for distribution. But you can periodically, check into our print resource page that you have now, a link in the Padlet. And it will be posted probably up on the top banner as soon as it's ready for distribution. All right, let's see what other questions we have.
How will we be notified when they are available? Will we have them by the fall school semester?
Fingers crossed, that's the plan. And honestly, once we get all the accessibility issues kind of hammered out, the final stage is just getting the final blessing from our leadership, and we've already gotten most of it. So we're hoping it's going to be a fairly quick process to actually get it out into distribution. So again, we're aiming for the summer. That's what we're looking at. So someone
and
says,
they'll be notified through Gov Delivery, so make sure you're on our email list.
that's right. Thank you, Cristina, for saying that. Someone says, this is so exciting. Love the updates that you've done and the digital platforms. Can't wait to get my hands on it. Where can I get a copy of the PowerPoint? It is now on the Padlet. How will we be notified? Let's see.
But what does LMCI stand for?
It's Labor Market and Career Information, which is the name of our department. So LMCI. That's us. Our job essentially as the outreach team is to take labor market data, translate it for, the current student at whatever grade level they're at so that it makes sense to them essentially, and help them understand how and why labor market data is so critical to their decision-making process for what happens beyond and even in high school. And so that's what we do. All right.
Jackie,
Sorry, go ahead, Cristina.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you, Jackie. We're very excited too, and we hope you enjoy the resources.
It looks like someone else is asking how they add themselves to our distribution list.
Sure. So you can actually email this career information, the email address that you have here. Just email us and let us know you want to be added to our mailing list, and we can manually add you in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to go to the TWC website, twc.texas.gov. And on the right-hand side, there's going to be, it's a little banner dark blue banner. It's got a little window in it and just says, do you want to be added to our mail list? So either one of those will work. Again, our team is more than happy to manually put you in there. So all we need is your name and email address. Would TWC vocational rehab staff have to purchase the resources to use with our customers? No one is required to purchase. You can download and print on your own, but if you want the actual printed, sealed in 3-hole punched in, sealed in shrink wrap, if you want that version, I believe yes, it is the boards or the workforce solution offices purchase through TWC for those offices, and I believe that covers VR staff as well.
It looks like someone has asked if you can go ahead and provide the address for the Padlet in the chat again. Lori?
Sure. Here we go. Just sent it off. We still got a little bit of time here, just if anyone else has any additional questions. I have to like go through all the list each time I go back to look at it. So someone is asking who the regional teams are, a list of regional teams. I'm just going to shameless plug here at 10:30, Mirna, Irene Garcia and I will be providing a presentation on workforce solution and TWC resources specifically for students, and I'll be talking in detail about those regional outreach teams. We'll be looking at the data that we've collected so far for our 2-year pilot, and we'll be discussing the 7 teams that exist currently, which are Borderplex, so El Paso, Austin, Central, which is Belton Temple area, Houston area, Lower Rio Grande Valley, McAllen, Northeast, which is out in the Sherman, Texarkana area, and West Central, which is out in Abilene. So those are the 7 that currently exist, but we are expanding. So our session is at 10:30, and we'll be discussing those regional teams in detail if you're interested in that particular content. But those are where the 7 teams exist currently. Sorry, I'm squinting, guys. I'm wearing my contacts. I'm trying to read these questions. And distribution list is great. The mailing list is called Gov Delivery, but it should also say on the TWC page, it'll just say, would you like to be part of our mailing list? Again, you can just email the career information contact and just let us know you want to be added to the mailing list, and we'll get you on there. Are they ready to be downloaded yet? If not, can we get notified by the email? So again, it's not ready yet for distribution because we are making it accessible. But once we make the announcement that, hey, these things are available for purchase, it'll be purchase, download, print, however you choose to use it. It'll all be released at the same time. And somebody's asking, how do we become part of your advisory team? Shoot us an email with your specific question. It depends if you're asking about being part of the education outreach expansion that we're currently doing, or if you're speaking specifically about our education outreach team. We get that question a lot. I think it's because the passion that our team has is pretty relevant when anybody speaks to us. And you know, we love what we do, so it's kind of infectious when we have conversations with other folks. So yeah, feel free to shoot us an email and I can have a discussion with you about that. All right. I don't see any other questions, ladies.
I don't see any either.
Okay. And I don't see that anyone sent anything through the chat for us either. So thank you so much for your time. I'm not sure if our moderators are still with us, but it looks like we've wrapped this puppy up.
Thank you for attending the 2021 Texas Workforce Commission Virtual Forum. We trust the information was beneficial and will help us better serve the people of Texas. We will see you next year.